Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Panda Bennett. Thank you for joining us. And today we get to meet Belladonna. She's the creator of the treeoracle, the Stromocculum, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And hi guys, I'm Belladonna, and my common normal name is Johana Reuter, which is the name under which I created the Stromocculum, the oracle that we will be talking about today. And mainly it was made under the project Femme Occulte, which is a quarterly book. And we will talk about it, I'd say, a little bit more later in depth. So once more, thank you for having me, Panda.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. So my pagan witchcraft studies is what I love plants, I love trees, very nature-based, my practices. And so that's what, like, I have like the Norse runes, but I just didn't feel as connected to them as I did when I found the ogham, and just the earth elements of that, and the trees and the wisdom, the divination system. So that's why I was so excited about this deck, which is in its second edition, correct?
Yes, now it's already in second edition indeed.
Oh, I'm so excited. So just tell us, because I'm definitely not an expert. I'm so excited. I've done a lot of studying on all of the the pronunciations of the theta and the four theta and that kind of thing, and the different ogmas. But yeah, you're the expert, and I'm just so excited. So just first of all, why don't you tell us about you, and your hobbies and your journey, and how you came to creating this oracle?
Yeah, well, I came to create this oracle through my biggest part of my life, or one of the biggest parts of my life, that is Femme Occulte creation. And a part of that, I'm a mom of 10-month-old baby, so that's a huge part of my time schedule as well. Plus, I'm also YouTubing, but mostly in my native tongue, which is Czech language. And because of in Femme Occulte, we are making different creative ritual packages for our magazine. I decided to make this plant-based or tree and bushes-based oracle. And I decided for that mainly because of my colleagues are really plant-based, focused into this kind of magic. And I knew that I'm not that good in that as they are, so I needed to find my way, in which I can just show that this is my way how to work with energies of plants. And since I lived in Ireland for about 3 years, and I fell in love with ogham there, or ogham, I was thinking that maybe I could try to work with different trees and create an oracle based on ogham or ogham. Definitely with the pronunciation, as you mentioned, I can't tell that I would be an expert. I never learned Irish, even though I lived over there, and even though I have Irish friends. So I don't really dare to pronounce or to talk about the different cards exactly in their Irish name. But yes, I used the Irish original name for each of the cards instead of using the Scottish Gaelic, which is the language that is usually used nowadays for ogham.
And it's
different ogham cards.
I mean, it's an ancient. I mean, it's the basis for how they came to Old Irish, correct? And now Old Irish really isn't even that common anymore, right? Because it's modern. It's taken to modern Irish. Yeah. So my studies you just always find the different pronunciations because some of that is lost, you know. But yeah, so that's what's really interesting to me, is just doing from all different sources, the different studies. But you had so much research and so many different sources. Like, you can definitely tell all the work that you put into this deck. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my work with those resources was quite extensive because of already from Ireland, I knew that let's say first 20 letters are kind of easy. And then the last 5 are always different. There's always different tree or a bush connected to them. And when I digged deeper, I figured that only about 5 to 10 trees were actually the trees connected to those letters on the very beginning of this alphabet. So I wanted to know more. I wanted to see all the different points of view, all the different choices of the trees connected to those letters. And based on that, I created the basic 25 letters of ogham. Plus, I've added extra 7 that are those that could be the different tree for one of those that are already included in the first 25. And I was trying to get into the resources as deep as possible and to get really to as old resources as possible, or like academical studies of old writings about ogham, so I could get rid of all the ideas that were put into it later. So that's why also some of the letters have quite a different meaning in this oracle than you can find normally in usual ogham oracles nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the expanded. So how did you decide to like the aesthetic of the deck, which is, it's so perfect. Like this, I'll show you guys, this is the box that it comes in. And I just think that this is so perfect without, like, it comes very grounded with the wooden box, you know, instead of just being encased in plastic. The color of the cards, I think, is absolutely perfect with the ogham hand on the back. But just tell me about like putting all this together and deciding on these choices.
First of all, we were deciding, or I was deciding, and my colleagues were helping me with that, of course, about the general look of the deck. And I was trying different backgrounds, and all of the deck was created in the program called Procreate, with which I can work on my iPad with Apple Pen, and that's just how I did it and how I draw it, made it. And I was searching for some good background. That was the start. That was the first thing that I started with. What will be the background on which I will draw all the pictures, and on which will be always the letter, the English name, and the Czech name, and in the background, the Irish word, or mostly Irish word. After trying several different options, I decided that it could actually have the same background as is in our quarterly magazine. So it just goes together with that kind of idea. And for the back part, I decided that I would like it to be this kind of light color rather than black. And here the hand is actually really my hand.
Is it really? Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I put my hand on my iPad and I draw it around, and there I draw all the different letters on it.
That's so cool.
So there's a bit of imprint of my energy on each of the cards this way. Yeah. And we were discussing if it could be also black background or black backside, but I wanted it to be this kind of light deck. And in the end, when I hold it now in my hands, the first of the cards is birch, and I can feel in that kind of like a birch energy of that kind of tree and of that kind of wood. And of course, when we were coming to the second edition, I wanted it to be in the box. And because of I personally enjoy oracles and tarot cards which are in the box. So we were searching for a suitable box, and it came on my mind, or one of my colleagues' mind, I'm not sure now, that we could try it with the wooden box. And we ordered few, we checked it, and we were like, yes, this will work. Plus one of my other colleagues found a girl who was, or an artist who was able to engrave all these new extra letters, which are extra added to that basic oracle, basic ogham oracle. And here is again engraving inside. Plus here, that's the logo of our
the Femme Occulte logo.
Workings.
Yeah. Yeah, the presentation of this box is of the entire deck is just, it's got so much energy and attention to detail that you don't get in a lot of the cards that just come in plastic instead. And so I really appreciate that energy. But then, so these are the new for Theta that you
Yes,
expanded on in this second edition, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me,
they were already in the first edition as well.
Okay.
But they are extra cards in comparison to ogham alphabet.
Okay.
So it's 25 ogham plus these extra cards.
So these were in the original ancient alphabet,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
They're expanded on.
There is a difference. There is a slight difference between the first original version and the second. The first original version was actually just a deck, nothing more. Just a deck of those 32 cards plus this little card with it, with brief meanings. And it was actually originally a part of the ritual packet, but because of it became so popular, we've created a version which would have its own packaging and a little booklet with it. Yeah, so the second one has plus the box and plus the booklet, plus the difference between those between the first print and the second print is that there is a slight difference on the card, by which I wanted to also give a little bit more of the value to the first edition, which will not be printed ever again over. And the second one has this little change on some of the cards, but just nothing that would be super major, super visible on the first site. So just to be able to recognize them.
Yeah. So tell us like who you think your deck is meant for. Of course, I feel like everyone should have this deck, but and how you use it. So just kind of tell me just how you intended it to be used. I know that you have some different spreads, which I really liked that the spreads were built into the tree, like the roots and like that kind of thing in your spreads, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I might find it straight away here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like a basic spread of 3 cards where you just have your roots, the trunk, and the crown of the tree. But of course, it can be also used for daily divination. It can be used for connecting it with another of the oracles. I've got a very, very lovely feedback from 2 of my friends who've decided to work with Stromocculum together with tarot. And they say that tarot gives them that kind of human view or human-based view of human archetypes and so on, while Stromocculum gives much more like a natural tree view, which is connected with a little bit bigger time frame, because most of the trees are alive for much longer than human beings. So this kind of energy or input is there as well. And I love to work with Stromocculum in connection to lunar phases. So rather than to use it for daily divination, I like to do weekly divination. We also post it on Instagram of Femme Occulte. And in that, I always draw 1 card and I check what phase of the moon is currently there. And then I connect it. Then I decide if the energy is really like strong and full, or if it's rather dark and deep, if it's projecting or rather taking something back, based on also the moon phase. So that's something with what I work the most with Stromocculum at the moment. Also, I was thinking if the Stromocculum is more for beginners or advanced practitioners or for both. And I would say that it's really focused a lot on intuitive working and also on working with which you are just taking the deck with you to the nature and connect to the trees and bushes. So for those who like to work very intuitively, or their path is more kind of instinctive and wild, the deck should be good also if they are beginners. But I would say that if somebody wants to work with ogham, that maybe it's better to first start with ogham that is usual, that is set, that is more in like a common consciousness. And then when somebody is advanced in ogham, then go with Stromocculum. So it's up to everyone. If they go intuitive part, yeah, that's perfect, even if you are a beginner. But if you go rather researcher part and this kind of stuff, it's better to compare it also with common ogham studies and decks. Yeah.
And that's exactly how I felt for the deck. Like, I have been doing a lot of different studying of my own, of different places. And then this offered like an expanded view, but also with my connection to plants and the earth. And then also how you added the lunar spreads, just kind of connects that, because it is all connected in life. And it is the trees and the earth and the moon, they all exceed humanity. They've been around much longer, and they just provide expanded. I've been doing like daily card pulls and like divination that way, but it's really beautiful. And I think that anyone that's working with either the ogham or plants in their witchcraft studies, I mean, this is definitely it can be for anybody. And it's just very in depth. I feel like if you're beginning, you can intuitively look at it, but definitely I felt like, well, and I think even correct me if I'm wrong, but the Femme Occulte, your guys' book is also for more advanced, which I think is so nice, because there's a lot of beginner information when you're studying witchcraft, but I feel like after you hit like a certain place, that there's not a lot for more advanced practitioners. So this is really great. And is it monthly?
Normally we create a quarterly book, and now we are putting all of them together plus some extra chapters, and it is just about to be printed in Czech language and in English language as a one whole book of 464 pages.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
It's just coming. It can be already pre-ordered. Yeah.
Okay. And I will definitely put all of her social media, the Instagram for Femme Occulte, along with the website, and then Etsy, where you can purchase this deck as well. And then do you guys have a Patreon as well for your witchcraft studies?
Yes, we have a Patreon page as well. It's also called Femme Occulte, so I can pass you a link. So you can put it under the video. It's very lovely for me. Thank you very much.
So just tell me how you guys came together to start Femme Occulte.
Well, it was last summer, end of the summer, and I was in the Czech Republic. I live nowadays in Germany, which I kind of didn't mention yet. And I was in the Czech Republic to meet up with some of my friends from occult and witchy and magical circles. And it just crystallized that way that we were just thinking that maybe it would be nice to start creating some kind of magazine. And we started putting it together, and it took us really several months to just get the idea, get the design, also all the stuff around organizational stuff with government and all this kind of things that you have to do if you want to start something like that, and libraries and so on. And slowly we figured that because of we don't include any kind of ads, we don't stuff it with too many of the pictures. There's really a lot of text, and it has 100 pages. We've figured that this is something that has rather chapters than articles, and that it could create a book one day. So we've decided that this will be actually a quarterly book, and started working on it as on this kind of concept that could always in the end of the year become a whole book. So the first year we were focusing on different elements, and now with the element of spirit comes the book. And the next year we have a new topic, which is pyramid or hermetic pyramid. And again, the top of the pyramid will be included in the book. So it is possible to read our articles through Patreon. or get the quarterly books with the ritual packages, which are always created in the way that they are connected to the different chapters and to what we are writing about. So everyone can actually practically try what we are writing about. And then in the end of the year comes the book. Yeah.
That's so exciting. And there's also stuff for beginners too, right? You guys have some stuff. I mean, it's not only, I mean, but it's definitely geared for advanced practitioners and like deeper occult and mystical studies as well, right?
Well, we are writing mostly for advanced practitioners, but it is always written in the way that you know the prerequisites. You know, you need to know how to meditate to get into this kind of practice, or you know, you need to know how to plant a little bit to know how to take care about this plant. So we are, of course, given the text in the way that it is suitable also for a beginner, but in the same time we are focusing on deeper practice, on our personal gnosis, and also we are backgrounding it with loads and loads of literature to get it suitable and good for also advanced practitioners. And yeah, we are showing different points of view because each of us has a little bit different practice, and yeah, that's basically it, I would say.
So I had the one thing that I just wasn't sure how to use it was the ogham hand. Can you just tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the ogham hand is also a part of the box here, and the basic of it, the first ogma, the first 20 letters are normally countable on that hand. So you always have on the first finger, you have only one line on the letter. On the second one, you have 2, on the third, you have 3 or 4, 4, and on the fifth, 5. Then all the extra ones are here in the palm, but with these, you can easily learn the first ogma. And there's this kind of saying, which is also here on the little card, and that says Bahama, which means that here you have B-H-M-A.
Okay.
And then you go Lodogo, which means L-D-O, L-D-G-O. So this way you can work with the ogham hand. Is it understandable enough, or should I continue?
Yeah, that's so great. That's so smart. And I just wasn't sure because I haven't seen this anywhere else. This image, and you created it, right? Because it's your hand.
I believe that I had in my notes from quite a long past because of I was going through different oracle types already a few years ago. I wrote down this kind of idea of writing the different letters to the different fingers. And I will not claim it as my idea completely, but the rest of the letters inside of the palm is my invention. And this kind of Bahama Lodogo, that you can have it as a little poem in your head, that's my invention. That's what I found in it. But I believe that I saw the drawing of the 1 point on first finger, 2 lines on second finger, that I saw it already before somewhere in some book, but it could be 15 years ago. So unfortunately, I don't know the source anymore.
No, that's so neat. I had just never come across it before. So that's an amazing way to memorize it and to help you learn that as well. But the first thing that I thought when I saw it was like using these to like kind of harness those elements like in ritual work or like meditation. So this is really beautiful. I kind of want this as a tattoo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me look here. I'm babbling. Let me look at my questions and let's see here. So how has this helped your journey since creating your own deck and doing all this research and pulling together all this wisdom for not only the ogham, but then also the plant spirit, like divination?
Well, I must say that this is not the very first oracle that I've ever created, but all of the previous ones I've created either only for myself, so I just draw my pictures in hand and had it at home as a small little deck, or I created it online and people could print it and just work with it. And that was the case of tarot and Lenormand cards.
Okay.
But with neither of these, sorry?
No, sorry.
No problem. But with none of these, I was researching like in depth or creating my own system. Yes, I was researching in depth with tarot and different approaches to tarot, but I was always working with the set amount of cards, and there was like a really solid background. But with Stromocculum and with going deep into ogham, I went through something totally different. And in the end of the day, I created a system that makes sense to me, and hopefully it will make sense to others as well, because those 7 extra letters created the whole alphabet, which can be used also as a magical alphabet for magical writings. And in that, it was really enriching. Plus, of course, while creating the deck, and then afterwards, while I was taking pictures of different cards and walking through the nature and suddenly seeing all those trees and bushes and feeling their energy, that was also really developmental for my path and for my practice.
And I think, at least for me, where this isn't something that was handed down to me, like it's not in my family line, that kind of thing. So it was just all of it when I started studying and started on my journey. It was all new to me. And then the ogham, like without your added, where you've expanded with the new for theta, it's not translatable one-to-one, like to the English alphabet. So that really helped me a lot, where the those extra letters, to have that, to make it the full, that made it more receivable or like understandable to me. So I really appreciate that. That's really nice. Okay, so let's see here. Is there anything else that you're working on, or what should we be looking for next?
Well, we were already talking about a book that is coming, and one of my colleagues is currently starting to prepare her own oracle under the Femme Occulte. We don't know the name yet, but it will be also plant-based. So there is another oracle under the Femme Occulte creation coming. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I will put her link below so that you guys can like follow along and keep up with that. Do you have any idea for like release date or anything for that?
We don't want to promise it yet.
Okay.
But
no pressure.
But yeah, that's the thing. It should be out 2022, but maybe already 2021, maybe already next year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Okay, so tell me, aside from your own, of course, do you have any favorite decks that you use for tarot or oracle or divination decks?
Well, my favorite deck for last maybe 7 years is Medieval Scapine Tarot.
Okay.
And it is completely different energy than Stromocculum.
Yes.
Or than runes, because I must say that I was working for some time quite deep with runes, also painted with blood and this kind of very different energy working. But Medieval Scapine Tarot is a tarot which told me on the very beginning of our journey that if I will take this tarot as my one tarot forever, that it will show me really wonders through card reading and working with cards. And I took this path, and then I created the tarot for my friends as a tiny course, the Lenormand as well, and I created different kinds of reading spreads, and now I created a Stromocculum. So I believe that the Medieval Scapine Tarot is some kind of a patron or a good spirit above me, which is helping me. Yeah, and I can always consult it when I have a need. I'm not that much for daily divination. I'm not into this kind of practice, but then it's even much stronger energy when I communicate with this tarot when it's needed. And I currently own basically just this tarot, then Crowley Thought Tarot, and Druidcraft. These three. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And so then you have a really chance to I always tell people, like, when they start out, to like spend time with just one deck so that you can really have that in depth. And so you have that really deep connection for your divination studies. That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, if I may just make a side note, I even, for our honeymoon, we went to Venice, and there are some of the cards in Medieval Scapini Tarot that are depicting the places in Venice. So I went there and I visited those places to actually see what's on the card, to see it and be there. And that was quite wonderful, quite amazing. The author is from Milan, which is just 2 hours away. We couldn't get there, but yeah, it was very lovely to also take this kind of approach to that tarot deck. I can definitely recommend to go in depth with one tarot deck for some time, of course. Yeah. Nobody has to be devoted for one forever, but
yeah, I mean, for everyone it's different in their path, but that's such a beautiful connection. Like, how special is that? That's not everyone has that. Like, that's really neat.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that first reading, and I was like, yeah, well, let's try. And it worked.
Okay, so I won't let me look here. I won't keep you forever. I know you're busy. It's, what time is it your time? It's like afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3:30.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
So for me it's early morning, and so for you it's the afternoon. So I'm sure you've got things to do, but my last thing, so what advice would you give to people, I think for you, for both deck creators or for people starting their witchcraft journey?
What advice would I give? I would say that it's very important to connect your intuitive part with your knowledgeable part, or like the brain and the heart together. When it works together, that's really good. And that's also in the Stromocculum. There's a loads of intuition put in, and loads of creation in the drawings, and energy working with the trees. And in the same time, there is a loads of research and loads of gaining knowledge. And I think that intuition plus knowledge can bring that wisdom that is needed on the path that is bringing fruit afterwards.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys, I will put all of her information, her channel, her social media, as well as the Femme Occulte website, and then the Etsy where you can purchase the Stromocculum deck as well, down below. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye.